welcome to Phoebus High School in Hampton, Virginia for tonight's high school volleyball. We're witnessing Phoebus and Bethel playing for the second time in 2 days. This is Frank Edgar coming to you from the gymnasium here at Phoebus High, joined by my partner as always, Wube Gabray, and we actually have somebody that knows something about volleyball with us, Coach Lindsay Jane Bamba Holcomb, or as we call her, Bamba. Thank you for being here tonight and teaching both Wube and I a little bit about this sport.
My pleasure.
We're going to pause a minute for the national anthem. Well, as they play the anthem here ahead of the boys' game tonight, we got two good teams coming in, a little different size teams. Bethel brings in about 12 players. Phoebus with the 6 go-to guys tonight. Both the girls' teams have joined the boys' teams on the floor. The girls played a really good match earlier. Phoebus getting nipped 3-1 in sets, but Coach, it was a pretty good matchup between the girls.
It was very exciting. A lot of rallies. A lot of rallies back and forth.
And it was. And we saw a couple of real talented young ladies, and I hope we do the same thing here with the boys. You know, we talked a little bit about, during the former game, Wube, we were talking about the Hampton City schools and the popularity of volleyball. We see a little difference in size of roster tonight. We broadcast these games so we kind of promote this sport, because this is a lot of fun for us to do.
Yes, it is. And just like when Coach Bamba was coaching, you know, Coach Elliott has went down the hallways and recruited basketball players, baseball players, just kids off walking around, just trying to get them to get into the sport. And he's done a great job getting some numbers out there.
Well, we're about ready to go here very quickly after the anthem. Coach Raven Richardson sends her 6 out to face Coach Elliott McGowan's 6 from Bethel High School. We got some real size here on the front line. Adrian Payton for Phoebus, the tallest kid on the floor, and as we were saying, Coach, very athletic in warm-ups.
Oh, very much so. He had a powerful arm and did well in the outside hitting.
Of course, we learned a lot in the first game, the girls' game tonight. It's going to take a team, and we'll see which one has the better team as we start here. Serving is Dominic Johnson for the fans, and he starts off the service in the net, 1-0.
You get a chance to see Jalen Davis, Frank, and Coach, another basketball player, pretty good basketball player. He's been on the varsity since 9th grade.
And there he is serving.
Pretty good set there by number 10 from Phoebus.
Andrew Martin.
Another good set.
Peyton may have gotten a little bit of the net. Wears about a size 14 shoe, so some of that got over the top, but I think he elbowed the net, and it's going to be Bethel's point, and Bethel serve again.
And you saw Jaden Adler out there, too. Coach McGowan praised him yesterday on how great of a player he was.
That time, Andrew Martin caught short at the net. He did try to hit it twice, but didn't make it. 3-0 Bethel here, first set.
It's nice to see an athlete that turns around and says, yes, it was me, and raising his hand.
Good position at that time by Martin, and the ball catches the net. So first point for the Phoebus Phantoms.
You know, Coach, we talked about you recruiting players. What's the first thing you work on when you're trying to groom a player into a volleyball player?
Oh, it would be to fall in love with the sport. I mean, you have to make it fun for especially boys. There's a lot of perceived or at least thought that it's all girls. It's a girls' sport. So teaching them how competitive it can be and giving them the stats. Frank and I talked about earlier that volleyball players have a higher vertical than basketball and how it can translate into other sports. So you have to sell it.
That time Martin with a two-handed set. It's called on that. So 4-1 Bethel.
You'll notice too in the boys, nice paintbrush there.
Dominic, become the crew's favorite word today, the paintbrush.
Yeah.
Dominic Johnson puts that away off the tip of his fingers.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll notice the difference between boys and girls. They'll take a lot more above their head with their hands, as opposed to girls passing it with their forearms.
That time, that's Kajan Taylor for the point for Bethel, and he goes back to serve.
So it's not only a reason because they are stronger in their hands, but they're also taller, so they can receive balls higher.
And there's Adrian Payton showing what he does best.
I'm trying to see if I see Coach Daniel. He might have a basketball player in the winter.
He was here earlier.
Yeah.
James Daniel.
I'm sure he's talked to him already about coming up for basketball.
Young James headed now, graduating from the University of Tennessee, headed to Greece to play pro ball.
Oh, nice.
Now, do we know is he a sophomore, freshman? Do we know?
He's a transfer from a private school. I'm not sure
Okay.
what year. I think this might be his senior year, though, but we'll check on that.
Bethel trying to change it up by going over on one.
Nice play there by Phoebus' number 8, Dominic Johnson, the floor captain.
From his left hand as well. I'm not sure if he's dominant left hand, but it's a nice change up.
Serve in the net by Payton, point to Bethel. Phoebus 4, Bethel 6. This is Jaden Nodler to serve.
Yeah, this is one of the better players.
Nice jump serve
in
there.
the area, yeah.
Notice the jump serve has the same footwork as a outside approach.
And the point to Phoebus as the ball is out beyond the pole.
Now in some club leagues, they're allowed to go outside around this line, play the ball back. But in high school sports, you can't. The safety issue.
You don't want to run into our own Steve Fryer. It's working the camera today.
That's a
Nice play by
fantastic
Nodler.
hustle.
Caught over the ceiling and drops in.
So 6-6 in this first set. Here at Phoebus High.
Xavion Taylor with the serve. Out of bounds. So 7-6 now.
Now, do we know what grade Jaden Nodler's in?
We don't. I don't believe.
No.
Pretty good looking prospect, though.
Great pass by Phoebus. Nice setup.
That time, Phoebus is number 13, Khalil Higgs, a little long with the hit.
Sometimes if your timing's wrong, if you get up underneath the ball, you can sail right into the back wall.
Off fingertips. 9-6 now. Bethel. Jane Marino is our up official. Shane Stewart, the down official on the far side of the court.
As a setter, it's nice to hear somebody that wants the ball. You can hear Phoebus is outside hitter number 8. I'm sorry, right side hitter number 8, Dominic Johnson, calling for the ball every single time. He's hungry, very aggressive. Beautiful.
Oh, nice hit by Johnson. Now that's the trick of getting that top spin. What's the trick on that to get that top spin hit?
Trying to hit on top of the ball and then snapping the wrist down. So we talked earlier about how important the timing is. So if the timing is off, then you end up with a waffle or a paintbrush. some type of, what did you call it in baseball? Curveball.
A
Right?
knuckleball.
Knuckleball.
Right, yeah.
Changing it up. Wish we could do it intentionally, but oftentimes in volleyball it's not.
That one aimed at Wube.
Yeah,
Somebody heard he had the Tyrod Taylor glasses on.
I took him off.
Bethel's number 13, Travis Woolard, to serve for the Bruins. He's a little short. Here's Dominic Johnson to serve.
Oh.
It's 11-8 Bethel.
Again, they played yesterday, as we mentioned earlier. Bethel with a 3-0 win. So Phoebus trying to avoid the defeat today.
Higgs again a little long.
And that time you notice he ran up underneath the ball a little bit, right? So the ball's in front of him. He's got that nice swing. He's able to have that downward trajectory. He's got to be patient.
And that one's short. So good service by Jalen Davis of the Bruins.
Catching that pass a little high up on the platform.
That time Andrew Martin tosses it out of bounds. 14-8. Time called by Raven Richardson of the Phoebus Phantoms.
So earlier you noticed that I was peppering with one of the kids on the Bethel team named Trevor Hargrove. I used to coach his brother Travis, and when he was in 5th grade, I'd pull Trevor off from the bench and say, "Come pepper with me." His older brother used to say, "No, no, no, he's never going to play volleyball." Now look at him. His older brother's up in basic training right now in the Army. So
Very good. Well, I hope he gets a chance to see his brother play, because we'll have this game on YouTube,
yeah.
and it's available around the world.
Just a little recruiting tool, huh, Coach?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see younger brothers and younger
Absolutely.
siblings love the sport as much as their older siblings did.
Now, Coach, you mentioned one difference between the girls' game and the boys' game. What's another one that the fans are seeing?
They're going to be up at the net, more battles at the net. So those 50-50 balls that we saw earlier,
Right.
They're going to be more battles. So if they're up, they can push the ball in what you call a joust,
Okay.
and you win it, hopefully. The last person to jump, just like in basketball normally, is the one that wins the ball.
We'll keep our eye on Peyton here. Getting probably too far underneath on that hit. So 15-8 Bethel.
Oh.
So he had the right idea. If he was up there blocking, he could have done that. But unfortunately, the first ball over the net, you cannot block. It's an illegal. I mean, it is illegal when you go up there and try to attack a serve. You can't do that.
That ball out of bounds.
It's a hard angle to go through.
What about the service posture of the Phantoms here with a 5 in the back?
Well, you got all your bases covered, but it also adds confusion of who's going to pass the ball.
And there's Peyton off the block for the point.
Fantastic job by him. Bethel needs to penetrate the block, which means that they need to actually get over the net with their hands, as opposed to blocking off and then getting jammed.
And having it go right down their feet.
Yeah, what you call a stuff.
Yeah. Great serve.
In depth, Coach. Does that make a difference much in volleyball as it does in other sports?
What specifically?
In terms of substitutions, or is it?
I think it's very important in volleyball. You have your biggest passers and defenders in the back. If they're not good offensively, then you take them out and put your offense in front. But looks like Phoebus doesn't have a lot of subs, so you have to teach every skill to every kid here.
And 2 hits there eliminates another winning hit or a kill.
And Andrew Martin raising his hand again as the guilty party.
And as a setter, that's his big job.
Job,
this is
yeah.
the first guy we've seen to be kind of a designated setter.
I like how honest he is, too. So it might be a backwards hack there. Yep.
Something satisfying, though, having set people, but getting that perfect set for somebody like Peyton, who really knows what he's doing with it. We've seen him hit it twice.
Very excited, too. What I like, his energy.
Yeah. And that's what you said. You have to have the love of the game. It's the first thing, the first trait you need to encompass to play.
19-11 here, set number 1 at Phoebus High School. Bethel leads it.
I'm digging the jerseys, too, by Bethel. I like those black road jerseys. Were they that slick when you coach?
No. No. You know what's interesting about the love of a game, going into football and being a football conditioning coach, you didn't have to teach the love of the game.
Right.
It was absolutely, it was mind-blowing for me. Being a woman and not growing up in that football atmosphere and going into there and just saying that you don't have to sell anything. They live, breathe football, just as basketball. I'm sure that's,
Same
versus
thing.
volleyball.
Yeah.
They don't have that upbringing, that family culture, or that Sunday night.
Just not being familiar with the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine it's a credit to the coaches to get teams out here because, Phoebus, well known for being a football school and to some extent a basketball school. So to get these young men to come out and play volleyball is probably a little bit of a struggle, at least initially. But Raven Richardson's done a really nice job getting the number of girls out. So now she's got to work on the boys, and I imagine the athletic department here has to help her.
Yeah.
Identify some kids that may want to play.
It's tough, having kids, how tough it is for them to play more than one sport.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids are year-round, so it's just tough. I know you mentioned Miss Davis on the girls' team, a 3-sport athlete, but it's rare. You don't see many kids playing more than one sport. So that's the hard recruiting tool now, is to get kids to play more than one sport.
And you can sell it, too, by preventing injuries,
Yes.
by just repetitive motion injury, doing the same sport all over and over again. Nice save there by Phoebus, number 3. Jonathan.
Not a bad. Johnson out, yep. Ulmer. And good effort. 21-11 now, Bethel.
Bethel's just using their athleticism for the most part.
Notice that Phoebus is trying to set up their best hitter there by not letting him pass that first or second ball.
James Grasser.
The homecoming king.
Kill. Ready to bounce right off his helmet. I mean, his crown there.
He should have wore it.
Believe it or not, when I coached at Bethel, I had a couple soccer players, and one of our plays was to go up and actually whiff the ball and hit it with his forehead, and we got a couple points by that.
Nice.
So
Peyton with the block.
we would call that a roof.
Is that, yeah.
Yeah, he basically didn't give him any chance to get it over him. He created a roof, that's for sure.
You realize you're creating an entirely different vocabulary for the crew at LSC 48.
Oh, yeah, they're loving this.
That one hit the basketball.
That's
net
still
that's
in, though,
up.
right, Coach? If it hits the top of the ceiling there.
As long as it doesn't go touch the ceiling when it goes over.
23-12 Bethel here in the set number 1. Jaden Nodler to serve.
I'm impressed with Nodler.
And that one's passed right over the net.
Sometimes the outside hitter can be so anxious to play offense, but we have to remember, as every sport, defense comes first.
Nodler for the set.
Yeah, he's
he
impressive.
wins it.
He's an impressive player.
Bethel takes the first set, 25-12. And the teams will change side in a 3-minute break here. Well, we've sitting really right in front of watching Adrian Payton hit that time. What did you see out of Bethel to get, other than a couple of defensive mistakes on the Phoebus side? What did you see offensively out of Bethel?
I think they have better defense. And with better defense and ball control, your offense does better. So their fundamentals are a little bit more sound. Phoebus has, to work on that, but they have that offense that they're trying to run and force every single time. I think if they play it a little slower and stop forcing everything to that one player, that they might get a little bit more change up, throw Bethel off their defense.
Well, Martin made a few two-handed sets there, and if he can correct that, I think certainly Phoebus will be in a better position here in set number 2.
And I was impressed with Nodler with his serves and his defense as well.
Yeah, he's an aggressive player. I mean, you notice that he went and ran after some balls that nobody would ever think to go after. And that heart right there you can't teach. That's just embedded in an athlete. I love the sport.
Well, so how much is the itch, Coach? Wanting to get back
it's,
out here.
It's bad. It's pretty bad. I'm sitting here just,
I know.
you know, I just love to see that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I love this. And what's funny is number 2, you know, from Phoebus, Adrian Payton, he's very excited. And he's jumping around on his toes prior to the serve, and it just warms your heart to see that passion.
Enthusiasm,
and the smiles coming from the kids. They're having fun. And like we said in the girls' game, the energy comes from the coaches, and it's nice to see that they're instilling those values that sports can be fun, and it's not all about winning. Sometimes it's the camaraderie.
That's right.
Well, I think a lot of sports, you know, football and in many ways basketball, you don't play it as long as you could. In baseball, you can move to softball later in age. But volleyball is something we talked about in the first game. You can play
for a long time.
For a long time, and it remains fun. Maybe even gets more fun as you get into less competitive settings, like the Diggs tournament that we've both been to. And it's not exactly the pinnacle of competition, although that higher level is very competitive. I think the Diggs involves a lot more social aspect, as you got something in your eye there. I too had something in my eye. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a huge volleyball community in this area.
Going to the beach, too, and playing some beach volleyball as well.
Yeah, we talked about how as you get old, the joints don't really work as well in the wood, you know, and so we go in the grass, you go in the sand. And
in the backyard, right?
Yep, it's a little bit more forgiving.
Well, I saw our 3-time gold medalist, Walsh.
Walsh and Misty May.
Getting another partner
Misty
and
May
hoping to come back.
She's a pretty cool chick. I've met her. She's a teacher. Special ed teacher, so she's got that special place in her heart. She's really down to earth.
So Bethel's going to serve here in set number 2. They won the first set 25-12.
Looks like they changed up their lineup a little bit.
We'll introduce them as they serve.
Jalen Davis.
Oh, so that was very rough to see as a coach. Ball come over and not sure what to do with it, and
Adrian Payton from the back line.
There's our guy,
So with this new lineup, it looks like there's a little bit of confusion on where and who is going to get the ball. A lot of laughter from the bench. That's encouraging.
Phoebus gets the point. Dominic Johnson to serve.
So that's called a J. You take your hands out and just pop your wrists. It's like hooking or a J hook.
That thing rolled over the tarp up in the rafters and then came down, and then Nodler put it away for Bethel. 1-1 set number 2.
This is McLean.
It's a great set there by number 11, Xavier Taylor.
Nodler again, guys.
Nodler up in the area. Thomas McElveen,
yeah. And Jordan, Jalen Palmer, one of the captains, is into the match now. Wearing number 9.
It was a great set again by number 8, Dominic Johnson.
Yep, and a nice a hit by Xavier Taylor. Too close to let go. 2-2 now.
And smiles to come after. Can't beat that.
Khalil Higgs to serve.
It's a great serve.
A little confusion there between Jalen Davis and McElveen.
Just a little. Still confused.
You see Nodler trying to direct traffic, one of the more experienced players.
Right, it's a tough one to handle. It's up high and midway, so it's hard to figure out whether your hands should be down or up.
It is. You can either drop your knees down lower and play it with your hands, or you can take it high with your arms.
This time, Payton set by McElveen from Bethel.
Phoebus with a little momentum here with a 5-2 score.
Bethel's got to make a decision there now. When number 2, Adrian Payton, is up there hitting, you cannot be standing at the net in what we call no man's land in between the 10-foot line and the middle line. They've got to either decide to block or play defense. One of the two. but just standing there and depending on the other 4 players to dig that ball is not going to be very successful.
Well, we haven't seen Peyton find any lack of clear floor on his hits. Now, timeout called by Bethel is Elliot McGowan. He's going to get his team back on the point scoring ways. They trail at 5-2 here in the second set. Kind of quiet here. The girls' game had a lot more ruckus going on.
Yeah, I think they had some passionate parents.
They did, and they sat right behind us.
Yeah.
2 high school classmates, one had a daughter on Bethel, one had a daughter on Phoebus. So it was a nice, friendly competition back there.
It was. It was entertaining for us to listen to, too. All right, Phoebus, number 13.
It's Khalil Higgs. He is setting right to one thing. Now, if you were defensively for Bethel, are you going to change your defense a little bit to try to cover that serve? And he's going after one spot.
I would, like we talked before, my favorite defense or serve receive position is just 3 across the line. If it comes towards, it's called alley serve receive. And if it comes towards your alley or in your lane, you take it. It's very simple.
3 back right in front of the back line?
Yep, just 3. Otherwise, it gets a little bit too complicated.
So John Taylor reserves that one in net. 7-3 Phoebus. And back goes Andrew Martin.
I like the coach's imitation there of that serve receive.
Adler, yeah.
In the net was Phoebus. In comes your friend, Trevor Hargrove.
Who were some of your favorite players, Coach, growing up to watch play?
Oh, I mean, it was Missy May and Carrie Walsh. I mean, those 2. I always liked to watch the beach.
Yeah.
Growing up, though, like we talked about before, I didn't have volleyball in my house as much as like on the TV.
Right.
So I didn't have those schools or anything that I specifically rooted for. My mom did play in college, so she was able to teach me at a young age. But I didn't have a special team that I rooted for.
I used to always hear about Karch Kanai.
Karai.
Yeah. Yep. One of the locals.
Karch Karai probably did more
for the sport.
Yeah, did more of the sport. I know he's been in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Down
there.
Yeah.
But
he brought beach volleyball into popularity. And he played, until he was almost 40, he played competitively. A point for Bethel that time.
So we just found out that Nodler's only a sophomore. So a good building block for Bethel to build on. And as Trevor Hargrove comes in the game, Coach, and he's also a sophomore. So Bethel has some pieces to build on.
Yeah,
a couple sophomores and juniors.
Yeah, it looks like they have 5 sophomores. It's pretty exciting to build a program.
Mm-hmm. And Nodler being one of their best players.
Woo!
Oh, good dig by Nodler. Jalen Palmer wasn't able to get it.
So finally turnover, but Nodler brings his team back. They tie ball game now, and Peyton to serve for the Phantoms.
So that hit the antenna. Ball is out of bounds. Oftentimes in practice, I would use those antenna and put them in the middle of the court, change the position, make them serve in between. It's a great pass there by number 10, Andrew Martin.
That must have gotten the antenna. He had wobbling a little bit.
Looks like it went through both of the blockers, which we call a field goal.
Still only 1 point, though.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't get 3 for that, do you?
Yeah. That time Peyton comes from sitting over on the bench and comes out and taps that over. Picks up the point for Phoebus.
So much lingo in volleyball I had no idea existed.
She's making it up.
I think so, too.
Well, I mean, when you get to the old farts like we are, there's other things that we can do that we don't teach, that are sloppy. It's a great pass by Trevor Hargrove.
Yep.
Not sure what the call is there.
2 hands.
Double hit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite plays of the net that the older crowd will do is called a cobra. And you take your fingers and make them as straight as possible and just poke the ball over the net. But you won't find this age doing that.
Yeah, don't do it yet, yeah.
They'll break their
Not
finger.
developed.
No.
Touch of the net by, I think, Dominic Johnson.
And, Coach, our alma mater, ODU, is getting a volleyball program. I'm not sure if you're
I'm
aware
excited
of
about
that.
that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be next year.
It's just girls, though, correct?
Just girls for right
Yeah.
now, yeah. So that should be exciting. It would be a good recruiting tool for the area as well.
Service ace for Bethel's number 13, Travis Woolard. You know, the CNU volleyball is one of the best in the nation in the conference.
I can't think of her name. Coach Lindsay, can't think of her last name right now, but she's a fantastic coach over there. Runs a great program. They're trying to build their boys program as well. They have a club team right now. They've had for a couple years, but not a sanctioned sport yet.
You know, like we said earlier, it's the avenue you can take to volleyball. People don't understand. You can get a scholarship just like any other sport. If you just work at it.
Time called as Phoebus falls behind by 3, 13-10 here, second set. We're seeing Bethel, I think, the numbers just wearing down. They've played at least 10 different players.
So,
sitting in Phoebus High School with the jerseys up there. Number 5 is Boo, isn't it?
that's Boo, and that's James Daniel right next to him.
Who's gone off to Greece to
And
play.
of course, Lakeisha Frett to our left, right above the scoreboard, still holds the record for the most points in a season.
She was tremendous. Now
Oh,
she was
man.
preceded by my classmate and friend Lynn Anastasio.
Yeah.
His brother won the state championship with Hampton in 1969. And then Lynn came over here and played.
Yep, she did.
And
Transferred to
great
UVA,
career.
right?
Won a national title down in Louisiana Tech, and then went to Virginia and played there. For
2
a year.
great programs, too, Louisiana Tech and UVA in women's basketball.
13-10 Bethel.
Ooh, making it close on that foot for that line. Football.
Nice teamwork there by the Bruins. Keep it in play.
Number 7, Thomas McCleveland.
McKelveen.
Kelvin did a great job of being aware of what he could do at the net with that double touch there. Block.
A junior. Again, this Bethel team has a lot of sophomores and juniors. Only have 2 seniors on the roster.
Coach Elliott McGowan must be doing a good job of recruiting at Bethel.
That went into the net.
He's a basketball coach, correct?
Girls basketball assistant coach. Coached football last year as well with Coach Beverly over there in the football program.
Oh, that's where I recognize him.
Gave you a big hug before the game today.
That time the set went over the net, and Phoebus put it away. 15-12 now, Bethel.
Got a few hugs, Coach, from some of your former players and some girls that you coach as well. Must feel good to see some of these young kids out here after you introduce them to the sport, a lot of them.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and they all played well, too. They really did. So 16-12.
I'd like to ask Mr. Nodler where he learned to play after the game.
Same place Michaela Riggs did, I think.
Oh, did we ask Michaela?
I didn't get a chance to ask her. I wanted to find out where she played. I don't see her here anymore, but it would have been nice to know where she's picking up that talent in the city of Hampton, or if she is in the city of Hampton. 16-13 Bethel. A lot of unforced errors by the Phantoms in this set.
Yeah, so what he was just doing is, I think he knew what he did wrong was his follow through. Just like in any sport, if you end up facing the wrong direction at the end.
That's where the ball will go.
Yeah. It's the most simple things, isn't it? And it's oftentimes where you look.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like when you first ride a bike, right? Don't look at the tree. You end up in the tree.
You'll end up being part of the tree, that's right. Now, what's the deal with this?
So he has one attempt or one miss toss that he can have.
Oh, nice dig by, nice attempt by Jalen Davis.
It's fantastic. Number 3 did what we call a chicken wing. You stick one leg or you stick one wing out there, and any body part that gets it up. One thing that we haven't seen, might be a new term for them, is a gator, where you can serve receive a ball with one palm up and one palm down, like an alligator. So
And receive that way?
Yeah, and sometimes when a hard-driven ball comes at you, and we talked about earlier, you're not sure whether you're going to bump it or overhand pass it. Sometimes you get stuck and do what's called a gator, and it'll pop right back up. Or you break your finger.
Oh.
Very nearly a basket by Phoebus on their own goal up there in the rafters. But
I wonder how many points that would have counted for.
They
right?
pick up the point. Well, they got at least one on that play.
Well, they had a field goal before.
Oh, yeah.
They need one now. They trail by a field goal, 18-15. Martin in to serve. Substitutes on the Bethel side. Before Curtis Wright steps in the back line.
So there's those strong hands by number 4 on Bethel, Curtis Wright.
Nice play.
Always makes me nervous to see guys overhand pass it, but then you realize they have bigger palms, bigger hands all the way around, and can muscle through those balls.
Jaden Nodler to serve.
Nice serve.
Fantastic jump, top spin serve. So that approach that he's doing, what we teach is like a little cadence, left, right, left, same cadence that you do up at the net, simulates on the back line.
Nice.
It's very consistent.
Yeah. So Bethel almost wrapping up this second set, just like yesterday. 3-0, they're up 1-0, and it's 21-15 in the second set.
Yeah, just a lot of kind of form errors over here by Phoebus. And Raven Richardson wants to talk to her players. She'll point those out in her very calm fashion. She's
played at Hampton University, right?
Yeah, 4 years.
As a player.
And then in Colorado, and where did she say she was? She also played.
She
Maryland.
Grew up in Maryland. I told her I grew up in Baltimore. She turned the other way.
Yeah, a lot of people do that with you. I don't know what they.
I don't know if it was the glasses or where I'm from. I don't know. But yeah, she's doing a great job. You know, taking over both programs, and it's a tough situation when you have. And the coach knows this, not being at the school, trying to recruit kids and keep them engaged.
It's very difficult. She's doing a great job. She has that background of an outside hitter, middle hitter in college. She's able to bring to the team. It's a great timeout.
So the footwork you say on that serve, that jump serve, is the same as you see him on it, trying to make a kill on the front line.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we try to teach. It's something synonymous with that. If you're just teaching basic footwork, you just get a 2-foot jump, right? That's the goal.
Another from the back line scores. 22-16 Bethel. Serve goes to Jalen Palmer.
Oftentimes, too, what I look for in a jump, because I'm a trainer as well, is to see if their knees cave in. So teaching them how to jump properly so they can play this sport when they're in their 40s.
Yep.
Palmer with a point.
Keep those knees.
We'll see him in a couple months.
Yep. We'll see him, Jalen Davis, and Taylor playing basketball for Coach Breon over there on Big Bethel Road. Oh, nice game.
Great up there by.
All right, what's the phrase for that? Hand, palm down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have
what do you call that, Coach?
If we do give out
It's
players
a breakfast food there.
with
Breakfast food?
It's a breakfast food.
hash brown.
Oh.
No, pancake.
Okay.
Something flat, right? And get that palm under there. If you get a couple fingers underneath the ball, they'll call it a good pancake. The ball can't make any contact with the ground.
24-17 as Phoebus tries to fight its way back into this set. Set number 2. Bethel leading 1-0 in sets.
Nice pass by Trevor.
We've got
We
Jalen
consistently
Davis.
see him with it. That must have been that night you were teaching him.
Yeah,
there.
back in 5th grade, he
Right.
learned how to pass. I used to tease him that he's going to beat his brother.
Well, that's a gift if you get
Yeah.
a good passer.
Absolutely.
Maybe
His brother Travis was very good at hitting with his left, his right hand. He could play any position you put him in. Great attitude to come with it.
Well, that's the whole goal: is control that control the serve, pass it to the middle, and let the setter decide which side.
It depends on what level. I really would rather teach pass right. Right, then that way you have your two most aggressive hitters. You have your middle hitter and your left hitter.
So your setter should be in that far right corner.
Yeah, your far right, it should be the set, and then you have your middle hitter back on the 10-foot line transitioned, and then you also have your outside hitter transitioned. Now you have 2 options, so you can fake out your defense on the block. That's
So
the
they either
ideal.
have to set up in the middle
Or
set up on the far right on their
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that way you have all your blockers, you have all your offense, everything is stacked. And then you can run plays. I mean, there's so many. When you get a better team or more complex and they get more experience, you can run a whole bunch of different plays. Slide, shooters, I mean, stacks. I mean, it's pretty complex. Sometimes in practice, I'd have them come up with plays. And that's where we got that soccer play where they'd go up
the
and hit
head,
it.
yeah.
Headbutt it. Is that what you call it in soccer?
Header.
Header.
Yep.
All right, Phoebus to serve. They trail it 24-19.
Oh.
Sometimes you get stuck.
And Nala with a backhanded flip wins it for Bethel.
Hargrove got the set there.
Yep.
So if we were keeping stats, Hardgrove would get the assist.
And
Nodler would get the point.
If
Yeah.
we were giving out player of the games, it would be Nodler. He's all over the court. And like you said, Coach, when you have a team like this, you have them in different positions to learn different tactics, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's doing a great job all the way around.
Now, Coach, let's think about Peyton, who's on a squad of limited number of players, less experienced players, is based on what we've seen. If you're a college recruiter, are you coming to you're looking at him and saying, that's a diamond in the rough that if with the right passing, the right.
Oh, see, I'd most definitely would. But here's the problem. They're not going to get college recruiters to come watch them as much as a school that's winning. So he's really got to do his homework, put his name out there, and then he can get somebody to come watch him. But, I mean, as a coach, I would definitely like I said before, his energy. I mean, he's so excited every single time he approaches the ball, and that's something that I look at for as a coach. Is his body language going down when he messes up? Is he picking up his other players? Because we talked about earlier how volleyball is a team sport. So if you have your quarterback or your setter, your best player, your captain go down, the whole team's going to go down.
Now, in the community, we were talking a little earlier about the Heritage Boys program. The bedrock of that has been a feeder program. I think at one time organized by a player's father. I don't know if you're aware of that. But
No, I don't, but I know that Newport News has that JV and that middle school program. Not necessarily JV, but they have a middle school
program. Yeah, and speaking of Hermitage, they've been good for a while.
Oh,
they
yeah.
went to the state playoffs,
deep
right?
in the state playoffs. From zero to deep in the state playoffs within one player's 4-year career. So that's a steep increase in skill and teamwork. That's what the city of Hampton's going to have to instill, and volleyball would seem to be a natural for the middle schools.
Well, when Coach Bamba coached over at Bethel is when Bethel was in the Class 6, and they're playing Grassfield, Western Branch. Coach, you know this.
Yeah.
And Western Branch has 2 assistants, a JV program.
They
and
had all matching shoes, matching shorts.
So I mean, you come into a situation like that where you have players that you just got from different sports, and they had kids that were playing since they were probably 8 or 9 years old. So.
Yeah, my favorite year though was the first year we ever came out. They'd never touched a volleyball before. We went to go play the Endless Summer Series tournament in Tidewater Volleyball Association, and we won.
Wow!
And I mean, it was the most exciting thing. Those kids, it's like they just won the state champion, and it was just a tournament, but we did awesome. And of course, they put us in the bottom bracket, but we were playing kids that have been playing all their life, and they had heart, they had energy. It was amazing.
Well, there is so much talent in the city of Hampton.
Well, I follow the Southside teams. I mean, you look at Chesapeake and Virginia Beach schools; they're loaded.
All right, Phoebus to serve here in set 3. They trail it 2-0. Dominic Johnson out of bounds. 1-0 Bethel. Sets are to 25 points unless you're in the 5th. To 15.
And talking to a few coaches, they said that Heritage was one of the top teams in the area and a team to beat as they go into the Class 4 playoffs later on in the year.
Well, Warwick High School's done a great job. I know Coach White over there didn't have a lot of experience, but he taught himself, and he's done a fabulous job over there.
And he knows Peyton that time coming in at one angle, hitting the ball back the other because he sees the gap in the floor. So he's obviously got court sense.
Very good court awareness, very much so.
That's a attribute you definitely have to have in all sports, especially volleyball.
Khalil Higgs to serve for the Phantoms.
It's a bullet serve right in the net.
Yeah.
Almost went through the net, yeah. 3-1. Bethel.
Almost, that looked like it was going to go out, but it was a good save.
Just out of bounds.
So, Coach, you talked about recruiters not coming to see Peyton because they're not winning. Where would someone like him, you said put his name out there, what would he have to do to put his name out there?
I mean, nowadays, I feel like I'm too old to enter that.
Yeah.
But it's social media.
Right.
It's amazing. Hopefully his coach, she's younger
Yeah.
and she would know. She's also played in college, so she's made those connections. But your coach is your resource, and
Absolutely.
then social media is your resource. It's all about networking. And I don't think that we instill that in these kids these days, that networking really does play a big part in their future. He just does a great job of hitting on top of the ball.
He does, and he sees where he's going with it. He's makes good decisions, even in flight.
And again, we don't know what year he is.
No, I don't. Wins a point, 4-4 now. Peyton with a serve,
That was a great topspin serve.
and we hit his teammate.
We talked earlier about the back row and who you want in the back row versus the front row. The taller players are going to have a longer distance to go to the ground. So physics-wise, you don't want those tall players in the back row, but not to say that they can't play there, if that makes sense. So the shorter athletes have a shorter distance to the floor. They're going to be easier to get those balls up quicker.
I was just told by the athletic director here at Phoebus, Maurice Ward, that Peyton is a senior. He's a transfer from private school, comes back to the public ranks, and he's a senior, so this is it for him. But he's going to go out and play basketball with Coach Daniel in the winter.
The 6'5" Bethel, as Phoebus had a little run behind Peyton serving. Now Nodler for Bethel.
Kind of missed his timing there.
Yeah.
And had to end up rolling that serve.
And point for Phoebus. The Phantoms trying to hang on here in set number 3. A lot of enthusiasm.
Gotta love it. Be anxious to know if he played volleyball in the past. I'm assuming he has with that swing. Again, great court awareness, like you said,
Yep.
Frank. He knew that ball was out, and how big he is, the angle that he's got to think about and get out of the way because he's so tall.
We're going to take this tape and put it in his resume.
For sure.
Oh, great job of being patient by number 8.
Dominic Johnson, the captain.
He waited. Number 3, his partner, Jonathan, was a little quick. Dominic was able to wait.
I thought Dominic from it was going to step on his shoulders of his teammate and get a little higher on that.
Totally legal.
Yeah.
Totally legal. Little cheerleading move there.
Xavion Taylor with a serve.
Oh, good dig by Nodler.
Higgs with the blast out of bounds. See Coach Richardson give him some encouragement and some instructions.
Great pass.
The double hit on the set. I think Peyton's lost about 3 kills from the set.
But notice his reactions.
Yes.
It's like, you're okay. It's all right. It's
Yeah.
all right. You know, that's what you want from every athlete. It's amazing. They mess up, and he's like, it's all right. Shake it off.
Out of bounds.
Again, court awareness is Nodler saw the end line and let the ball go out. And here's Hargrove on the serve now for Bethel.
Yeah, oftentimes I'd tell them that's the bench's job. They're sitting out on the bench. They should be communicating, at least helping out, encouraging the energy and in and out balls.
And Coach, that speaks volumes because that just goes to show when you're not in, you're still in the game.
Oh, my gosh, yes. sometimes people would get in the game just because they were paying attention so much.
And you
he-
would put them in because they communicate from the bench, right?
Peyton a little early on that one, knocked you down.
And that goes for all sports, Frank. A lot of kids think that just because they don't play, that they're not part of the team. But in volleyball, you're very much part of the team because you're instructing some of your teammates about where the ball's going to go.
Let's see here, Phoebus hanging in set number 3, 10-10 now. Dominic Johnson to serve.
And I think on that one, Coach, maybe bend your knees a little bit?
Well, we have to give a higher toss, maybe make contact a little higher. If you wait till the last minute and you hit right by your ear, it's not going to go as high. Not a big fan of the one hand, but he did a good job.
There's our guy Nodler again, the sophomore.
He's been all over the court
Yes,
for Bethel.
he has.
Kind of reminds us of Briggs, or I'm sorry, Riggs from Phoebus.
Michaela Riggs, yeah. Kind of set it for the other side there.
That will be a slam dunk in
Good John.
basketball.
Yeah, good John
That's
Taylor.
Taylor. And like you said about Jalen Palmer, we'll see him in a couple months too, Frank.
Yep.
Oh, nice play.
He did a great job of squaring up his shoulders backwards. Very fancy set there by Nodler underneath.
Peyton with a kill. Lamartin with a nice set.
Like how he gave props to his setter for the assist.
Now, Coach, when you mentioned calling plays, would the play be called as soon as you got the set? Is that when you call a play?
It depends on the energy of the team and the relationship. Sometimes they would be in the middle of a rally.
Okay.
And if they work together that well, then they can call it. Of course, I'm a sign language interpreter. So my kids knew sign language, and they would communicate. I would be communicating off the court as well.
And a foot fault on Higgs. So 14-12 Bethel here, set 3. Bethel's number 4, Curtis Wright to serve.
Wright is a sophomore as well.
Little rainbow serve there. Took up Phoebus.
Mariah Lee.
Whatever works, Coach.
We watched Mariah Lee do it in the girls' game.
Oh, yeah,
Very
she did.
successfully. Drop it over the net.
Great pass there by number 3, Jonathan Ulmer.
There's Nodler again. Nodler and Taylor on that block.
Good defense by Andrew Martin, Phoebus.
Out of bounds. Point to Phoebus.
He saw that hole in the front.
Yeah, he did.
Front right and went for it.
Andrew Martin to serve.
Grasser couldn't get over there in time. Out of reach.
Like his little fancy footwork, getting ready to serve. Great pass.
Oh, nice play by Nodler.
Almost threw it over his shoulder and to get it go the opposite way he was looking.
Nobody can see behind Peyton because he's so tall.
Right.
But I love at the higher levels when they do the fake, when they set and you got everybody jumping up and you don't know who's going to get it.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Peyton.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice play by Nodler. If that's going to go out, it's going to be Bethel point.
That's how you never give up on a point.
And I'm not sure we've seen Peyton miss but one.
Yeah.
One hit. Been very consistent. Doesn't get the point there.
And that was Grasser and Nodler on that one for Bethel.
Got the crowd involved now.
Oh, nice play by Taylor.
Higgs had to try to kick it up in the air. Timeout called by Raven Richardson and Phoebus. They trail it 19-14 here in set 3.
So it could be another 3-0 sweep for the Bruins unless Phoebus can make a run here.
That's what Coach Richardson trying to decide how to do that. Maybe just giving her 6 a breather, too. As this one has dragged on a little bit, this set has.
Got some good competition, though. Some nice rallies. It's
Oh, yeah, for sure.
exciting to see the points. Like, very exciting. There was a play over here where I think they thought they were done.
Right.
Like, you never give up.
Yep. That
They
was
pulled
Grasser
out.
and Nodler, yeah.
Yeah. Very exciting.
Well, the good news is that the coaching is strong. And if we can get some of these players out, and again, with the academy system just coming into Hampton this year, it'd be interesting to see if Coach Richardson's able to use the enticement of the programs over here. You got the strong robotics program.
Yeah.
You got the culinary arts program. Maybe strong programs to draw volleyball players to Phoebus.
Definitely have to do some recruiting. As Coach knows, you just got to get the word out and get some enthusiasm and excitement into the sport.
So Kajan Taylor to serve for Bethel. They lead at 19-14 here in set number 3.
So floor captain Dominique Johnson was just called up by Jane to, I think, tweak a little bit of their rotation. Something's happening. Jane is a volleyball lover at heart, and she knows that there's a little problem over there. She's going to give them the benefit of the doubt, teach them so that they have a chance.
That's interesting that I'm glad she did that.
Yeah, she loves the sport, loves to see these guys out here playing. She's not trying to.
That time, maybe a little patience on behalf of the back line of Phoebus would have allowed that rally to continue. 20-14 now, Bethel. Taylor trying to serve for the win in the match on his rotation.
I think we still have 5 more points.
Yep, a double hit again.
Back in the day, we used to play to 21.
Right.
Now we play
I
to
think-
25.
Yeah, I thought it was 21.
No, I just thought he'd like to keep going because he's on a streak now.
Oh, now that Peyton has anything to do with it. Well, he almost had
That went off the net,
yeah.
went out of bounds without
Just-
touching.
He was trying
The
to change it up.
athleticism and that he had on that one. Hey, you're right, Frank. Maybe Taylor can close this one out.
That's what he wants to do.
Oh, Peyton, get up there.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
got it.
That time, nice reach over the net by number 11, Xavion Taylor.
Gotta
And he
be
stops the run.
Careful. Got to be very careful there. If the ball is not over that plane by any means, then they'll call over. So he's got to be very patient and not reach. That was a problem that I found difficult to coach because they were so eager to hit that ball.
Got a step over the the midline.
Looks like Travis Boyd was over the line.
So Peyton now in the net. 23-16, excuse me, Bethel. Now Nodler on the service line with 2 points to close out the match.
Phoebus really got to step up their serve receive here.
They did. They forced him out of bounds.
They did a great job
See
watching
how
that ball.
they manned that sideline to force him to hit it elsewhere. Now Xavion Taylor. They're trying to crawl back in it.
Got his good luck socks on. Been looking at those.
Oh, good. Looks like Jalen Davis was on the line as well.
Yeah,
Phoebus making a run here.
We got the cheerleaders out here today. Nice left hand there by number 8, Dominique Johnson.
That time Peyton was hoping somebody come in and set it, and had last minute had to come underneath it.
So the homecoming king, Frank, and coach can end. He can end it.
Yep. Congrats to
James
serve for the
Gasser.
match.
Let's see if he can be the king of the night and end this game. And he will.
And he does.
How
As the
fitting.
people cheering just got nailed by Dominic Johnson. That's going to close out the match here with Bethel winning 3 straight over the Phoebus Phantoms. At times, pretty good volleyball.
Oh,
At
it
times.
was. There was some exciting rallies going back and forth, and some really good plays by both teams.
Nice athletes on the floor. A lot of young men that are going to benefit from the two good coaches they're working with. So
Absolutely.
we'll see improvement, I think, in Hampton High School area volleyball as the years go on here.
As Bethel gets 2 straight wins over Phoebus in a matter of days. So good outing for them the last couple of days here on the volleyball court.
Pay back for the football.
Absolutely.
Well,
Pay
we
back
want to
for football
thank
for sure.
Coach Lindsey Bamba Holcomb.
Coach, thank you very much.
For being
it's
with
my
us.
pleasure.
And
It's a lot of fun.
we've all learned a lot today, and
We
I
have.
hope the viewers appreciate that you gave your time to come out here and teach us a little bit about volleyball. Great game, great matches here tonight at Phoebus High. Folks, come on out and watch these young people play volleyball. It's a lot of fun. They'll play another couple weeks here in the fall. And then see if you got children at home, get them involved in these programs. Even if you have to go across the city line to Newport News and find one of those feeder programs, do that.
Yes.
So on behalf of Coach Bamba, Wu Baker Bray, this is Frank Edgar signing off from Phoebus High School tonight, where Bethel's won it 3 straight over the Phoebus boys in volleyball. Good night. See you next time.